Good evening, it's time for the news on Times Television, TTV. You with me, Ronald Mpaso. First, the headlines. Malawi is running out of COVID vaccines. Some Malawians complain of poor services at the National Registration Bureau. And in other news, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri plans to construct a state-of-the-art children's ward at Kamuzu Central Hospital in honor of his daughter, the late Israela. We have these and the latest in international news. Stay with us. In our first story, the government has warned Malawi is running out of COVID vaccines. The warning comes after spot checks across the country indicate that most vaccination centers have run out of the AstraZeneca doses. The centers reopened after arrival of 192,000 doses after Malawi had gone a month without any vaccine. Minister of Health spokesperson Adrian Chikumbe has since admitted that the situation on the ground shows that the country is running out of the vaccines. Jameson Chauluka has a report.
Chikumbe, however, said Malawians should not panic, saying the country is going to receive more consignments from next week. He said even the whole consignment was not enough for Lilongwe alone, but still it had to be shared across the country so that every part has access. Talking to Times on Wednesday, Minister of Health Kombise Kantulo Chiponda said the country will from next week receive 120,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine, 370,000 doses of Johnson & Johnson, 300,000 doses of Pfizer vaccine, and then in September, through COVAX, will receive 360,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine. She also said the country has rolled out the process of purchasing vaccine using the 25 billion kwacha which has been provided by World Bank.
Some Malawians have complained of poor services at the National Registration Bureau in Blantyre. Some people we have spoken to say they are being taken for granted by some of the officers. Thomas Kachere visited the Bureau's offices in Blantyre and now reports.
Standing for more hours, but in the end return home without being assisted. According to some citizens, they feel the process for one to access the services at National Registration Bureau offices in Blantyre means tough time.
If I was to rate the service that's being offered here at NRB offices, I would say literally it's very poor. Because first of all, you come here, there is no information as to what you're supposed to do. We know that as citizens, we come here to renew our cards or to do whatever it is for several reasons. Nobody is telling you, like directing you what exactly you're supposed to do. There are so many queues, and then you're not sure which queue exactly to get on. At the end of the day, you stand on a queue for a long time, but then you find out that what you need is not is not on the queue that you've been standing on. So would love if the duty bearers here would improve, but also even the duty bearers that are responsible for managing this office to improve in such areas. One, they should be able to provide us with information when we come here. Should know where exactly you're supposed to be helped.
Despite keeping them on queues for more hours, they are not allowed to access the toilets at the premises. But National Registration Bureau spokesperson Norman Flatira said the office decided to close the toilets after some individuals vandalized and stole some items from it. He, however, insisted that the toilets are accessible upon request. Malawians keep visiting National Registration Bureau offices in various places of the country to update their national identity cards, which expire after a given period of time, while some go there to have birth certificates for their children.
Prophet Shepherd Bushiri has pledged to construct a state-of-the-art children's ward at Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe. Bushiri, who has donated 14 infusion pumps worth 10.5 million kwacha to the facility, says he will construct the ward in honor of his daughter Israela, who passed away in March this year. Kumbo Kaliwo has more in this report, read by Taonga Sabola.
Speaking during a brief ceremony held at the Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe on Thursday, Bushiri said his plan is to construct a mega ward which will have modern facilities so that children with complications are not referred to outside countries.
Sometimes, there are things which you need better care. And when our child was sick, she was referred to go to abroad to get better treatments abroad. And unfortunately, we lost our child. And that only also gave me the motivation to think, I think there are certain things that we do not need them to be outside the country. We as citizens can come together and contribute whatever we can and be part and parcel of making sure that certain things do not lack in our hospitals.
Kamuzu Central Hospital Director Dr. Jonathan Ngoma expressed gratitude to Prophet Bushiri, whom he called a friend of the people.
The donation that has come today will improve the quality of the care we're giving to our patients. And what has been shown today is the love that Jesus had as Christians, where you're supposed to give and help those in need. So these things will go a long way in alleviating suffering.
Ngoma also welcomed Bushiri's vision of constructing a children's ward, adding that it has always been wonderful to see Malawians coming in to help their nation.
Mobile phone service provider TNM has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Youth Council of Malawi. The agreement, which targets the youth, will boost Malawi's socio-economic development. Wezi Gausi has a report from Lilongwe, where the agreement has been signed.
The partnership is part of the Muzwatu initiative that TNM launched recently. TNM Chief Executive Officer Arnold Mbwana says the company launched Muzwatu initiative to partner with the community. He says the partnership will drive job creation, mobile penetration, and financial inclusion.
So by signing with NICOM, basically we are signing with all the youths and youth group that we have in Malawi. Why the youth? Because there's no meaningful economic development activity that you can do in Malawi without the participation of the youth.
The Council's Chief Executive Officer, Dingiswayo Jele, described the partnership as a great opportunity for the youth of Malawi.
The partnership that we have entered into with TNM is going to change the whole landscape on the youth socio-economic empowerment and development in the country.
Meanwhile, the Council has urged the youth of the country to come out of their comfort zones and think beyond material satisfaction. Muzwatu is a community-based partnership approach leveraging on mobile technology as a catalyst for economic development.
Meanwhile, Japan Tobacco International (JTI) has challenged young Malawians to unearth ideas that would help develop the country. JTI Director of Corporate Affairs Limbani Kakome says such abilities would help the youth secure opportunities, including entrepreneurship. Kakome made the remarks in Lilongwe as the company was launching its graduate intern training program. Audrey Kabalamula has the story.
22 young people have been given an opportunity to pitch their business and development ideas that would help them secure a place in the graduate training program at the company. Kakome says the competition is both locally and internationally. He says the company believes in investing in young people at the same time, contributing to the national agenda of building human capital and creating jobs.
The objectives for the young ones, firstly, is the big one is to contribute to national development through building human skills. We believe that a graduate straight from college needs the opportunity to grow into an organization that has a learning environment. Allow them to make mistakes, allow them to learn on the job, give them the mentorship, and give them the training. So human capital development is one key thing that we believe in as a company to contribute to the national development agenda.
One of the young people, Memo Linuka, who previously went through the training, underscored the significance of the program.
A lot of us, when who haven't worked before, because that's what majority of the people who are coming here are, they've all had very little experience in the corporate world, is that essentially, when you're coming in, you think that all that work is that people are going to tell you what to do. No. I think the people who branch out, the people who are more, noticeable within the workplace, are the people who try to put in more.
According to JTI, 12 graduates will be given an opportunity locally, while 2 successful graduates will compete for a place at the company's head office in Geneva.
Director of Public Prosecutions Stephen Kayuni has asked for 45 days to conclude investigations in former Reserve Bank Governor Dalitso Kabambe's case. Kabambe and 3 others are being accused of abuse of office, neglect of office, and money laundering. And today, Kayuni told the Chief Resident Magistrate Court in Lilongwe a team of about 20 investigators from the Fiscal Police, Financial Intelligence Authority, and the Anti-Corruption Bureau will need about 30 days to conclude investigations. Taunga Sabola has more in this report.
According to Kayuni, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected investigations in the matter, as some people who were supposed to be interviewed by the investigators were in isolation. He added that the state also needed to touch base with investigators in other countries.
It's an investigation strategy that is at play. There are different institutions. There is Financial Intelligence Authority, there is the ACB, and there is also the Fiscal Police. They are all jointly officers working hard to make sure that they wrap up the investigations very quickly. They are almost done with the investigations, and then we need time to prepare the disclosures on all the paperwork, and then in 45 days, 30 days for the wrapping up of the investigations, and then 14 days within which to make the paperwork available.
Defense lawyer Oscar Taiwo said they were disappointed by the prayer from the state.
People should be arrested after investigation, not arresting them then investigating afterwards. And that is the legal principles established by the Apex Court in Malawi, Supreme Court, that you shouldn't just arrest people with the view of investigating, but investigate first, then arrest them. So that is a disappointment we express, that the state rushed to arrest our clients before conducting investigations.
Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chirwa has since adjourned the case to September 15 this year.
You're watching the news on Times Television, TTV. We now take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Kutumiza ndalama kulingati kuchena mu office umene waimverera iweyo mwini wake basi. Kulingati kusesa sikufuna malamulo mbwe paize basi chimodzimodzi kulandira ndalama sizimafunika kupereka bize ngati assignment. Ndendende kukusha ngini pa tauni zolondana nje ndalama ndizani osamangika. Kwabwera ufulu 525. Tumizani ndalama ku nambala iliyonse ndi ufulu pa mtengo otsika.
Tengani ndalama pa banki pa khomo agent kapena pa ATM ya FDH Bank. Osamangika. Ufulu weniweni ndi 525. Ufulu 525. Powered by FDH Bank PLC.
Mona Malawi anzanga. Nkhondo yogonjetsa COVID-19 ndi ya wina aliyense. Tili limodzi. Ine ndinasankha kulandira katemera wa COVID-19 atangoyamba kuperekedwa. Chifukwa monga namwino, moyo wanga, umoyo wa odwala amene ndimawasamalira, abale anga, ndi dera langa, ndi zinthu zomwe ndimazika pa mtima panga kwambiri. Katemera wa COVID-19 anditeteza ine ndi ena omwe analandira katemerayo ku chiopsezo choti tingadwale mwakayakaya, kugonekedwa mchipatala, kapena kutaya moyo wathu chifukwa cha COVID-19. Kulandira katemerayo kutithandiza kuthana ndi mliri wa COVID-19 limodzi.
Ziwani zambiri za katemerayo ndi kupanga chisankho cha nzeru. Sankhani katemera, tetezani tsogolo.
Welcome back. Renowned broadcaster Sweeney Chimkango has died. The broadcaster and musician succumbed to COVID at Blantyre Adventist Hospital today, according to his brother Lamek. Chimkango is expected to be buried at his home village Andinyanza at Makwasa in Cholo district tomorrow. As some Banda reports, several artists have expressed shock over Sweeney's death.
His death comes barely a week after the country also lost veteran storyteller and writer Nancy Piri, who was laid to rest last Friday, and Springs founder Jomo Nkunika, who died in Mexico and will be laid to rest on Friday in the United States of America. The talented musician was until his death acting controller of programs at Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, helped several musicians in the country. Several artists on Thursday expressed shock with Sweeney's death. Artist and broadcaster Willie Soko described Sweeney as a fine TV producer and presenter, and that he was a great composer and singer. He said Sweeney had a fine voice and that he was a good guitarist. Musicians Union of Malawi President Gloria Manonga said the creative industry is shocked with Sweeney's death, describing him as one of the pioneers of gospel music. Veteran musician and former member of parliament Alan Gumuya said he started singing in the same year with Sweeney and that he wrote him a song, Pamene, which is in the album Tizikumbukira. MBC Director General George Kasagula said they were saddened by the death of Sweeney. Kasagula described Sweeney as a decent human being who was very jovial, easygoing, and that he was always looking at the positive side of things. A graduate from Chancellor College, Sweeney was one of the people who showed the world that disability is not inability. As he went all the way and armed with his musical skills, he inspired a lot of people. Sweeney entertained people with his music in the late 1990s and went on to release 3 albums as a solo artist, namely Yendanibe, Fumu Yarunta, and Paulendo. However, due to pressure of work, he was not active in terms of performances in recent years, and he admitted to the media in 2019 that he was missing the stage and that it was high time he released new songs. Born on August 18, 1963, Sweeney is survived by a wife and 4 children.
Humanitarian organization Churches Action in Relief and Development has launched a psychosocial support manual on COVID. The manual will guide religious leaders and the faith community in using Bible and Quran-based principles in dealing with the pandemic. It also provides information about the pandemic and the importance of vaccination. Rwelen Mpasa has filed this report, which is being read by Elvis Hoahoa.
Speaking on the sidelines of the ceremony, CAD Executive Director Milton Luhanga said the book, which has been written by the faith leaders, can be used to inspire hope among the faithful, especially pertaining to COVID-19. Luhanga said congregations provide physical infrastructure and complex social networks that can be leveraged for a wide range of issues, including messages on COVID-19.
Today, we are launching this book, which has been done by the leaders of the faith communities themselves, so that this can be used by any person in the faith community.
Blantyre District Health Office Public Relations Officer Chris Ibanda said maintaining social and spiritual connections in the midst of COVID-19 is the basic important factor in the fight against the pandemic.
We as health workers, we are the doctors of the physical body. The church community are the doctors of the soul. You know, COVID-19 has brought anxiety, depression, stigma, and the like. So if we work together with the church society, we will be able to restore hope among the people. We will be able to make our people resilient, strengthen the mindset of the people, to give them hope that this shall pass and then life will still go on.
CCAP Blantyre Synod General Secretary Reverend Billy Gama said religious congregations play a critical role in providing and supporting spiritual and social services within communities.
This book is very, very important because it is going to be used as a resource of materials messages that religious leaders or faith leaders can share to the community. You know, we have learnt here, but we may not remember everything. But by referring to the book that has been launched today, the message is going to go a long way. Religious leaders, they are in a community, they have followers in their areas. So by being equipped using information from the book that has been launched, it means these religious leaders, they are going to communicate to the masses, to the community, to the society, accurate message that is going to save life.
CARD is a humanitarian church-based organization that provides emergency assistance in short term to communities affected by disasters.
In other news, the Democratic Progressive Party says it is ready to meet and apologize to families whose relatives were shot dead by police during the July 2011 nationwide demonstrations. The party's regional committee for the North says they intend to do this so that they heal the wounds that the deaths caused to the families. Sam Kalimira has a report.
Livingstonia Synod of Church of Central Africa Presbyterian General Secretary Reverend William Tembo recently said if DPP can apologize, it can be the beginning of unity amongst Malawians, especially from the northern region, who according to him are still nursing the wounds. DPP Regional Governor for the North, Akim Mwanza, said the Synod's direction on the matter is commendable and they will do as such.
If we want to bring back unity, if things went wrong, we have to sort out and find out where things went wrong. So as the Synod is saying, it will be better for the DPP and the Synod to sit down and sort things that went wrong at that particular time. For the sake of unity, it's better that we should work together with the Livingstonia Synod.
Mwanza said one of the steps would be to consult with other DPP senior leaders in the region, such as the party's Vice President Kudo Gondwe, to devise a proper way of handling the matter. Spokesperson for the bereaved families, Mese Mbesuma Mfune, said families are happy that DPP has come into its senses. During their memorial service of remembering the deceased last week, speakers agreed to always let democracy reign supreme.
In international news, riots across South Africa this month exposed a long simmering anger over inequality and insecurity in the country. That, analysts say, is an issue South Africa has not been able to overcome despite nearly 3 decades of democracy since the end of apartheid. Linda Givitash has this report.
Muhammad Ali Randera watched helplessly from outside his electronic shop in Soweto as determined looters broke through the heavy metal gate. In a matter of hours, his livelihood of the past 7 years disappeared. Nationwide, losses from the unrest and the economic disruption it caused are estimated in the billions of dollars. Small business owners like Randera are asking authorities why.
I'm really disappointed this government, why the government can't open up their hands and do this, targeting these people who are doing this nonsense thing. Because not only in my shop, there's 1 million of people, they lost the business.
Experts say the riots erupted due to long-held frustrations that have been simmering among South Africans who feel marginalized. Extreme inequality has persisted since the ruling party, the African National Congress, was first elected in 1994. With the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, the already double-digit unemployment rate has soared above 30%. Seamstress Mampo Lasawana, who also lost her business in the turmoil, doesn't know how she will provide for her 3 children.
I hear that the government promised us to help us. So for now, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope so. No, I'm not getting any support from Norway.
President Cyril Ramaphosa announced earlier this week the return of a social grant for those who had lost their jobs during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Uninsured business owners like Randera and Lasawana can also expect funding, but the response has yet to restore public confidence in the state.
So there is some frustration that everything moves too slowly and that, we hear lots of
wonderful promises, but if you're not actually going to carry them through, then what's the point?
Divisions within the Big Tent Party are also festering, while allegations of corruption under former President Jacob Zuma's administration mount. But political analysts say voters have few alternatives. Tired of waiting for their government, average citizens have taken the lead in rebuilding. Like the unrest, analysts say the do-it-yourself attitude is a symptom of the state's failures. Yet it may have also revealed the strengths of the country's democracy.
The Constitutional Court held firm, the different people in civil society and the institutions came out in support of the Constitutional Court, and despite the unrest, President Zuma remains in prison, which has to be seen as a triumph for the rule of law.
The country is now watching closely on how the law is being enforced on those involved in the riots. More than 2,500 people have been arrested, 6 of whom face charges for inciting violence. The government has said more arrests are expected. Linda Giftash for VOA News, Johannesburg.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines again. Malawi is running out of COVID vaccines. Some Malawians have complained of poor services at the National Registration Bureau. And in other news, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri plans to construct a state-of-the-art children's ward at Kamuzu Central Hospital in honor of his daughter, the late Israela. Remember, you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website. That's www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page, Times 360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Stay safe. You've been with me, Ronald Mpaso, and I wish you a lovely night.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. See, finding a good place to watch football was never easy.